Hi everybody, welcome back to Everything Green Tractors. Today we're going to be returning to the projects around the house and take a break from the Kubota videos. When we pour the concrete inside the barn, the driveway on one side of the barn ends up being higher than the grade of the concrete, and consequently when it rains, water comes into the barn and puddles right there at the doorway. On the other side of the barn, there's no issues. It flows down and we don't have any water issues. From the inside of the barn, this is the one that grades away. You can see no driveway at all, or no ramp coming out of the barn. The other side, this is what it looks like, and you get a pretty good idea of how high that grade is above the concrete, resulting in those puddles of water. So there's going to be 4 steps to the project today, and the first is going to be scraping off the existing crushed concrete that's on the driveway and putting it into a pile so we can use it later. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the grade down to about 6 inches below where it is right now. And once we've done that, we are going to fill it back up with crushed concrete, both from the pile that we're going to put on the road out there and also from crushed concrete that's alongside the barn. And the last thing we're going to do is grade the driveway into the road that runs out to the highway. We'll make sure that the grade is a little bit more consistent and that water will run off down the hill rather than running back toward the barn. Today we're just going to feature one implement, and that is going to be the John Deere 120R loader. It will have on it the standard 53-inch loader bucket. So this is pretty much just going to be a base tractor, standard loader, standard bucket. And for ballast, I'm using the backhoe today. However, you could pretty much use any implement that's has some weight to it at this point to do this job. You know, I guess before I started doing the Kubota videos, I didn't really pay attention to it that much. But you can see that I'm just working in idle right now. And the reason why is because I want to be very deliberate about scraping off just the crushed concrete. And I think going faster would tend to get my blade to dig into the ground. You can see the tires are up in the air, getting some weight on it, and I don't want to go that fast. I just want to be very controlled. That's pretty much how I do this the entire film. Now, for the sake of this film, I am going to speed up the video to about 20 times the normal speed. But I'm going to leave the sound the same. I've detached the audio so that you can kind of hear where the tractor's at. And you're going to notice right now I'm in idle, but then in a little bit I'm going to go up a little bit above idle. I'm thinking probably somewhere around 1800 RPM. Like I said, I really didn't pay attention that much when I was doing it, but you can definitely hear by the sound of the engine that it's very low RPMs right now in any case. Now, in shooting the Kubota videos, I was doing a ton of research by watching our competitor videos, especially around loader work. One of the claims that I saw that kind of surprised me was that there were a couple of websites that said you can damage your tractor, your hydraulics, your loader, or your bucket by back dragging dirt the way I am. Now, I agree with the cutting edge that you can damage it by back dragging the way I am. That's why I try to go slow, and I'm pretty deliberate when I'm doing everything. I'm not sure how you could damage the hydraulics of the tractor or the loader bucket doing what the tractor is designed to do. In the 17 years that I owned my 2210, my cutting edge looked as good as the day I bought it when I sold it. Now, the other side of the coin is when you can see I'm cutting down the grade, I'm actually keeping the bucket at the angles that Deere recommends. When I'm going forward and kind of digging up some of the dirt there. And when I'm going to spread out some rock later in the video, I'm also going to be using the correct angles. And I think that helps to kind of smooth over any imperfections that might have been caused. Like I said, I'm not doing this in a high speed, and I'm really very deliberate about this. I definitely would recommend checking the blade to see if you're doing any damage to the blade if you are concerned about that. And I want to slow it down here just for a few seconds because I want to point out a few things that are going on in the video at this point. So I wanted to point out that we have completed phase 1 of this project, which is that concrete pile to the right of the tractor there. That is being staged right now, and we're holding it off to the side for later use. We're actually going to use that pile and fill this driveway back in, and you can see that the driveway right now is dropped down about 2 inches below the grade of where it was a little while ago. And I'm doing this by just continuing to do that back drag process that we had been discussing. And I'm trying to work the entire driveway, so I'll go all the way up to the front, drag back, and then I'll go to the opposite side of the driveway and drag back. And once I feel I got a pretty good pile of dirt at the end of the driveway, I'll go ahead and you're going to see I'm going to level the bucket off to the recommended angle that Deere wants you to be at. I'll go ahead and run through it, and you're going to see that I get a pretty good load into this bucket, and then I'll dump that into my second pile of dirt to be named for a future function later. Most of that is sand with just a little bit of crushed concrete in it. Not something that I want to use as a fill dirt anywhere, but I could possibly use it to maintain a part of the road somewhere. Speeding back up the film, you can see the process or the progress that I'm making. If you watch the tires, you're going to notice from the side view, you're going to notice that they continue to drop below the grade, kind of giving you an idea of how far down they really are. And if you're looking at that pile of sand, right now it's larger than the pile of crushed concrete is. When I put down the crushed concrete, it was 6 inches thick, the entire length of the driveway. And I'm sure that some of it over the years is washed away or moved into the driveway as I drag things across. But still, that's a lot of crushed concrete that's left there. And so when we are digging out this much grade, we're going to need to use some of that crushed concrete that is alongside the barn at this point. And now I'm pretty confident that there isn't really any obstructions underneath the ground. To me, this is a more dangerous way to damage your blade, by putting the bucket into the ground and driving forward, although this is the recommended angle that Deere has listed in their owner's manuals of how to cut in a driveway or how to cut into a grade. If you watch the land clearing videos, you might have seen a couple times where I went pretty much over the steering wheel because I hit a root in the ground. And so that's why I'm always kind of cautious as I'm driving into things forward, because you're a little bit faster as you're going forward and you're in four-wheel drive, so your momentum is going to continue when the tractor comes to an abrupt stop. You can definitely see how much faster it is to cut into the ground in this direction, because right now I've already dropped about 3 inches in just a couple passes. If this was tougher soil with rocks and clay in it, I would probably use my box blade, and I would just continue to drag it forward and do kind of the same process, pick up the box blade and then make a pile out of it. And here you're getting a really good view on how far we've progressed in a very short time, really. You can see that the front is deeper than the back is, but that's an optical illusion. The grade is actually flowing away from the barn right now, and it drops as it gets towards the road at the end of the driveway there. And at this point I feel pretty good that we've reached the grade, and I'm just doing a couple of final passes on it. You're going to notice I'm still in idle, not really pushing the tractor at this point, just getting the final grade here, and then I'm going to be starting to fill it back in with crushed concrete. Filling the driveway back up with crushed concrete is a pretty simple process. I want to go all the way up to the barn and dump the rock there, and then I'm going to actually flatten my blade out and back drag the crushed concrete. At the very beginning, you're going to notice that I have quite a bit out there. The reason why I'm working my way from the barn back is because I want the grade to be high at the barn, and I want it to be low when it gets down to the road out front. And it's kind of hard to see because the tires are below grade right now, but I'm actually pushing down on that bucket to flatten that rock out, to make sure that it's being compacted as we go back. And very carefully I'm working my way from the barn out at this point. And here's a good view of how I'm flattening out that. Got the tires are up in the air, pressure on the bucket. The bucket's about 15 degrees up in the air, and that's doing a good job of compacting that crushed concrete into the ground. Just taking my time and not really rushing it at this point. Now, over the course of the summer, I'm going to revisit this as I continue to drive over it. It's going to sink into the ground, and I'm just going to be pouring some more crushed concrete there and then compacting it down as the summer goes on. I like using crushed concrete over other forms like limestone or river rock. The biggest reason why is because it tends to kind of like form back up. When we were cleaning out the barn, we were pulling out concrete in chunks of slabs. The other reason why I like it is because we have a recycling center here that I can get it from, and the prices are much more reasonable than it is to use the river rock or the stone. Now, you do want to be careful with the type of crushed concrete you get, because sometimes there is rebar in it, and we have popped a few tires around our house when we've used the crushed concrete in the past. And right now I'm doing some final rough grading for now. As I revisit this during the summer, I will continue to raise that grade up. So I'm not going to use all of the crushed concrete that's alongside the barn for a couple reasons. The first is because we're going to need it as we go through the summer, and the second is I am going to be filming another video of now the BX 2680 versus the John Deere 1023E. So we have a 26 horsepower Kubota versus a 23 horsepower Deere, and that's going to be coming up very soon. Right now I'm just transitioning each side of the driveway so that it sits a little bit smoother as you're driving across the land there. The driveway still sits about an inch or two below the surrounding grade, but we'll be filling that up over the summer. And at this point I'm still working my way out from the barn out to the road. That way I'm keeping that grade at an angle so that the water will run away from the barn, and I won't have to worry about it coming back this direction. And now we're moved on to stage 4, which is going to be transitioning the driveway to the road. I'm going to be working both the road and the driveway at the same time so that we have a smooth transition as we're exiting the road. You can see there's a little bit of a drop there coming into the road. You'll see the edge of my bucket drops into the ground as it hits the road. One of the things I really love about this 120R loader is that 53-inch bucket, because it really makes it much easier to grade, because from going front to back, you can drag more material, and also from left to right, it's easier to maintain a consistent level as you're back dragging over a driveway. And with that, we are kind of coming to a close on today's project. You can see how well that the driveway is transitioning into the road, and at this point I feel pretty confident the water is going to flow away from the barn. I want to thank everybody for watching today's video. I really do appreciate all the viewers out there. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Also, please leave some comments. I love the viewer comments as well, even when there's some constructive criticism on them as well. So for today, I'm Phil Dance, and I sell John Deere tractors.